With a new security pact in the Indo-Pacific, the USA, Great Britain and Australia have offended allies and sent a clear signal to China. The plan includes helping Australia build nuclear-powered submarines. China, which is facing international criticism because of its increasing claim to power in the region, sees itself provoked by the tripartite alliance. France foamed with anger on Thursday because its own multi-billion-dollar submarine deal with Australia has now probably burst. Australia's neighbour New Zealand wants to ban such submarines from passing through. So, the USA, Great Britain and Australia had previously announced the new security alliance. The government under President Joe Biden announced that it would allow Australia to acquire nuclear-powered submarines to strengthen security and military deterrence in the Indo-Pacific. Biden spoke of a rapidly evolving threats and a historic step. In the next 18 months, a way should be found so that Australia has such modern submarines, according to a joint statement with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The USA and Great Britain would share their expertise on this. According to security experts, the new alliance is clearly directed against the military threat posed by China in the Indo-Pacific. However, Biden, Johnson and Morrison tried to counteract this impression. They did not mention the country once in their declarations when the pact was presented. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson stressed that the cooperation was not hostile to any other power. A senior White House official had made a similar statement. At the same time, US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin accused China on Thursday of intimidating and pressuring other countries in the region. China reacted indignantly to the security pact. The countries concerned should give up the Cold War's zero-sum mentality, said a foreign ministry spokesman in Beijing. In doing so, they ultimately harmed their own interests. In addition, the spokesman pointed out that Australia was a state without nuclear weapons that could now suddenly import nuclear-powered submarine technology with strategic military value. This could lead to other states to question their commitment to non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. China itself has long been a nuclear power. And to have a nuclear drive doesn't mean to have nuclear powers, first of all. Weapons. Unusually violent words came from Paris because they feel betrayed. Because for France, the new pact means the loss of 56 billion euro in an agreement. In 2016, Australia signed a multi-billion-dollar contract with France to build 12 new submarines. "I'm angry you don't do something like that among allies," rumbled French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian. He spoke of a one-sided, brutal and unpredictable decision. They strongly resemble the appearance of the former US President Donald Trump. The relationship of trust with Australia had been betrayed. Probably as an attempt at appeasement, Biden had already singled out France as an important partner in the Indo-Pacific when the pact was presented. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken also tried to smooth things over and stressed that the US attached great importance to this relationship and partnership with France. According to the US government, France knew about the announcement of the alliance in advance. So, who's telling the truth there now? Australian Prime Minister Morrison was adamant and relied on understanding. "As Prime Minister, I have to make decisions that benefit Australia's national security, and I know France would do the same. And I know that will ultimately be understood," he said. France's Defense Minister Florence Parly said with a view to possible compensation, "We are testing all hypotheses and scenarios. We will protect and defend our interests." New Zealand was also anything but enthusiastic about the pact. New Zealand's position regarding the ban on nuclear-powered submarines in their waters remains unchanged, said Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, and announced that neighbours with such submarines would not be allowed entry. The Pacific state strictly rejects nuclear power. And cautious tones about the deal were also heard from the EU. The EU Foreign Affairs representative Josep Borrell was not very enthusiastic about the announcements. "We regret not having been informed," he said in Brussels. The new alliance bears the name AUKUS, based on the English abbreviations of the participating countries. "It sounds strange, all these abbreviations, but that's a good one," said US President Biden. Although, sounds like AUKUS, Google that one. However, he emphasized that it was not about nuclear-armed submarines for Australia. "These are conventional submarines that are nuclear-powered," he said. The US government had previously agreed to share this extremely confidential technology, and that was the case with Great Britain around 70 years ago, a senior White House official said. AUKUS should also continue to weigh on the tense relationship between the USA and China. Biden had recently clashed with China on various issues, such as human rights. However, the US president tried to work with the rival power on the climate. But there had been little progress recently. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi stressed at the beginning of September that the American side should stop seeing China as a threat and a rival. Great Britain has rejected criticism from France because of the new security alliance with the US and Australia. Australia's decision to build nuclear-powered submarines with America and the British, instead of conventional submarines with French help, was made there. Defense Secretary Ben Wallace said that on Sky News on Thursday. "We have no reason to turn the French against us. They are among our closest military allies in Europe," he said. Prime Minister Boris Johnson later said in Parliament that his country's commitment to NATO was unshakable. He described the relationship with France as rock solid and added, "We stand shoulder to shoulder with the French, whether in the Sahel, where we are conducting a joint operation against terrorists in Mali, or in Estonia, where we are currently do have the largest NATO mission." And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.